No, thank you, Kieran. And normally I dial in from an office. I should explain where I am. I'm at I Love Books in Montalbert North. I'm out door knocking, and my son, being school holidays, joined me. So the price I had to pay was we came to his favourite bookstore and we bought a book.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
Happy school holidays to everyone who's juggling the same. To the question, it is Jewish New Year as well as on the eve of that important anniversary. I myself celebrated that with a family, very close and dear friends of mine, the Sher family. And it is a time of gathering and sombre reflection, but it's more important this year than ever before. And we can have debates backwards and forwards about where that line should be drawn between the right to freedom of speech and assembly and not offending each other. And the answer usually isn't in the law. The answer is in the hearts of Australians. So people will have really spirited views on where they stand on a particular issue, but let's all come together as Australians and recognise that not every day is appropriate for a particular protest. My office has protests every Friday, and I fully support their freedom to do so. We've seen many protests throughout this city, and largely a lot of them have been peaceful. Sometimes they haven't. But the 7th of October isn't a day to do that. It isn't a day to do that. So I call on those individuals who are looking to have that protest that day. It's unnecessarily provocative, and to be frank, it undermines their cause as well. So I think there's plenty of other days in the year, and they're the ones to do it.
Yeah, indeed. And there's that question. There's also the question, Keith, as you know, and the police have put out a joint statement, state and AFP police chiefs, warning people, if you show up with terrorist paraphernalia, you will be noticed and they will take action. That's also fair enough, isn't it?
Well, it is. And we saw in the last week there was some ambiguity about how the Australian Federal Police viewed the laws that exist on the statute books. And I think we saw that clarified in the last few weeks. Of course, it's always for the courts to test the boundaries of a particular law, especially a new one. But what we want to see is the police enforce the law. There are questions about whether that occurred on the steps of the Opera House almost a year ago, and we don't want to see that repeated. And if the police have any doubt about where the boundaries of a particular law is, well, we'll then have a test case. But what we don't want to see is unnecessary incitement to violence. And flying the flag of a terrorist organisation is clear incitement to violence. There's no place for that in Australia.
Now, on the Iranian ambassador, there are calls for him to be declared persona non grata, to send him home. Do you, though, see the value of maintaining that diplomatic relationship? You can still do that and maybe get another ambassador sent here. One would imagine they would share a similar worldview as to the incumbent. But do you see it as an important diplomatic relationship that Australia has? Because the US and other Western allies, and a lot of them, don't have an embassy in Tehran. This at least allows some dialogue.
I understand that argument, but let me tell you why a line has been crossed here, and there are two key reasons. The first is that this ambassador, it's not just about his tweets, these offensive tweets that he has put out, but it is also about the ASIO Director General singling Iran out for conducting foreign interference, particularly against the Iranian diaspora in our own country. And that's the second part. The Iranian diaspora are some of the most courageous people I have seen who have been out on the streets long before the 7th of October calling for freedom and women's rights in their own home country. They have reported to Senate committees and also to me personally the intimidation that they have faced here. So I think that particular ambassador is a malign influence, and I think a line has been crossed, and that serious step of sending him packing is one that the government should seriously consider.
Keith Wallahan, thank you for joining us from that lovely bookshop in your electorate, and good luck for the rest of the school holidays. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.